Hello, my friends. This is Baal Kadmon, and I would like to thank you for watching and or listening to this podcast. Interestingly enough, I thought I created a podcast about my book, Melchizedek, Unmasked. I released the book in December of 2018, and I was just looking through my podcasts, and I noticed that I did not actually create one for this. So in this podcast, I'm going to read you 2 chapters from the book, the introduction and a chapter on Melchizedek in the Dead Sea Scrolls. In this book, I get into the original texts regarding Melchizedek, who is a very mysterious figure in the Bible, and I'm hoping to add clarity to this topic. I hope you enjoy it. Introduction. There are many mysterious characters in the Bible. Even those we know a lot about are still a mystery to us. In my estimation, the most mysterious and most misunderstood is Melchizedek. Only one other person comes to mind that is a close second in mystery, and that is Enoch. We know more about Enoch than we do about Melchizedek. If you look up Melchizedek, you will find many people claiming to be of the Melchizedek order. You will also find references to Melchizedek as an ascended master. This is a more recent development of the New Age movement and is based on channeled wisdom. Since that evidence relies on such material, I will not include it in this book since there is no way for me to confirm the veracity of the claims presented through channeling. I'm not saying that it is not true. I am simply stating that I can't verify it. In this book, I will examine Melchizedek throughout the various texts he is found in. I will attempt to use the language of the source material I used to add clarity when and if necessary. Here is what I will cover in this book. I will shed light on the meaning of the origin and name Melchizedek, or in Hebrew, Melchizedek. I will examine Melchizedek in the Old Testament. It is here where he first appears. I will discuss the Canaanite theory of his origins. We will take a brief tour through the Dead Sea Scrolls to see how he is portrayed in them. He is, in those texts, the enemy of Belial. Melchizedek can be found in the Gnostic Gospels and in the Apocrypha. I will examine these sources. I will examine the New Testament sources about him and how he is portrayed in them. Melchizedek is also found in early rabbinic literature. It is in these documents that his identity changes within the Jewish tradition. I will discuss Melchizedek as he was understood by the early Christian Church. I will also examine the writings of the historians Josephus and Philo and how they understood Melchizedek. And lastly, I will present you 2 short but powerful Kabbalistic meditations you can perform to tap into his energy. You will not want to miss that. Let us begin. Melchizedek in the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls is a treasure trove of information. It contains texts that shed light on aspects of Judaism we can't glean from other texts. It is in a few of those scrolls that we find the mention of Melchizedek. The main text was found in Cave 11. It is often called 11Q Melchizedek, or 11th Cave Qumran Melchizedek. Qumran is the location of the cave. In the text, Melchizedek is far more than just a king and a priest. He is now a supernatural being that will fight the forces of darkness led by Belial. After you read the verses below, you will see that the writers of the Dead Sea Scrolls certainly didn't view Melchizedek as a Canaanite king, as I mentioned in the previous chapter. That would be highly problematic if they did. Let us look at a few of these texts. I will supply the texts in English since they convey the same message that is found in the Hebrew. 11Q13, column 2, 9:9. It is the time for the year of grace of Melchizedek, and of his armies, the nation of the holy ones of God, of the rule of judgment, as is written upon him in the songs of David. Here we see that Melchizedek is almost angelic or a messianic figure of some sorts who will battle the forces of evil. The verses I provide now below will further substantiate this understanding of Melchizedek. In the same scroll, 13:13, it states, "But Melchizedek will carry out the vengeance of God's judgment, and on that day he will free them from the hand of Belial and from the hand of all the spirits of his lot." This verse is clear about the role he has in this war against the forces of Belial. This is a spiritual war that is to take place, and Melchizedek is the spiritual force that will be at the forefront of this battle. In the same scroll, 25:25, it says, Melchizedek, who will free them from the hand of Belial. As you can see, the role of Melchizedek is entirely different than his role in the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, he is a king and a priest, and we don't even know where he's from. Here we find he has a much more important role as a spiritual entity and savior of the ones who follow the light. He is very reminiscent of the angel Michael, and when you think about it, even perhaps Jesus. There are a few more mentions of Melchizedek in the Dead Sea Scrolls. They all portray him in a similar light. As you can see, his role changes as time progresses. The same can be said for his archenemy Belial as well. You can read about that in my book, Belial, A History. Let us move on to the next set of texts. There you have it, my friends, 2 chapters from my book, Melchizedek, Unmasked. I hope you enjoyed it. The book has a lot more information in there and very powerful meditations. They're actually video meditations, and I give you a secret link that you can go to and perform this meditation. So just a little update. I am putting the finishing touches on my astral projection course, my course on Sefer Yetzirah, and my book on Beelzebub, A History. Unlike my book on Belial, this one will have rituals, and I'm thinking about actually pre-releasing it, but I'm not sure just yet. But those are what is on the horizon right now, and there are a few other things I'm working on as well. Well, that's it for today. I hope to speak to you soon. So mote it be.